Pabalik-balik na po yung staff ko sa office ni Senator Peter Alan Cayetano para kumuha daw ng go signal nang sa gayon yung kanyang mga members ay ma-elect na sa committee ko. And all of them were saying we're more than happy and willing to sign, pero ayaw ni Senator Alan Cayetano. I don't know anong dahilan niya, bakit niya hostage yung pagiging members ng kanyang mga kasamahan sa committee ko.
Senator Tulfo, madali niyo naman akong tanungin, alam niyo naman kapatid ko si Alan, kung gusto niyong may iparating. Huwag na ho kayo magdrama ng mga pa-hostage. Hindi ho tayo ganito dito.
Never po ako nagdrama dito. Simula nung ako'y maging senador, never ever po ako nagdrama rito.
Kumusta mga kababayan? Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Panibagong araw, panibagong reaction video na naman ang hatid namin sa inyo. At dito nga mga kababayan ay nagkaroon ng mainit na pagtatalo itong si Senator Raffy Tulfo at itong si Senator Pia Cayetano mga kababayan. Dahil nga po sa nabanggit itong Senator Raffy Tulfo na di umano ay ayaw pumayag ng minority leader na si Senator Alan Peter Cayetano nga po na magbigay ng go signal sa kanyang mga kasama sa minority para maumpisa na di umano ang mga komite na hawak nga po nitong si Senator Raffy Tulfo mga kababayan. At hindi nga po yan nagustuhan nitong si Senator Pia Cayetano. At nagkaroon na nga po sila dito ng sagutan mga kababayan. Panoorin po natin ang mainit na sagutan ng dalawang senador. Pero bago yan, kung bago ka pa lang dito sa ating channel, ay mag-subscribe ka na at i-click mo din ang notification bell para maging updated ka sa mga susunod pa natin video.
Mr. President, point of order.
Yes, Senator Raffy. What's the pleasure of Senator Raffy Tulfo?
Mr. President, in the past few weeks, I have coordinated with the Office of the Majority Leader regarding the membership of the committees I hold as chairman. In fairness to the Majority Leader's office, they have extended all efforts to formalize the election of the members of the Committee on Public Services and Migrant Workers. What disturbs me is that it is the inaction of the minority floor leader to confirm these memberships that holds important LEDAC bills hostage, such as the Department of Water, crucial franchise bills, and the OFW reintegration bills. To my colleagues in the minority, maraming salamat po for your confirming your intent to join my committee. But to the minority leader, my good friend, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, it is time that we cooperate so that we may get back to legislating. If you have time to go on FB Live, maybe you have time to confirm or give the go signal to your minority members. Kasi Mr. President, pabalik-balik na po yung staff ko sa office ni Senator Peter Alan Cayetano para kumuha daw ng go signal nang sa gayon yung kanyang mga members ay ma-elect na sa committee ko. And all of them were saying we're more than happy and willing to sign, pero ayaw ni Senator Cayetano, Alan Cayetano. I don't know anong dahilan niya, bakit niya hostage yung pagiging members ng kanyang mga kasamahan sa committee ko. Hino-hostage niya po yung mga LEDAC bills sa kanyang pagtanggi na bigyan ng go signal ang kanyang mga kasamahan sa minority para pumirma. Mr. President, sana makarating to kay Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. Kanina sana kausapin ko po siya, kaso wala po siya dito ngayon. Therefore, I have no choice para dalhin to sa floor. Maraming salamat, Mr. President.
Senator Raffy, thank you for that reminder. In fact, we have 32 committees that have yet to be fully convened. Kulang pa ho tayo ng mga members. And we would like to request later on, me and the majority leader would coordinate and talk to our minority leader to provide us with the list of members to fully complete the 32 committees. We recognize Senator Pia Cayetano.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. Actually, I don't really have to stand anymore because the Senate President already responded in the manner that I believe is becoming of the Senate. Senator Tulfo, Madali niyo naman akong tanungin, alam niyo naman kapatid ko si Alan, kung gusto niyo may parating. Huwag na ho kayo magdrama ng mga pa-hostage. Hindi ho tayo ganito dito. And I certainly hope, that you don't set a precedent kasi I don't know the Senate President to be that way. I don't know the Majority Floor Leader to be that way. He happens to be seated beside the former Senate President. The Minority Floor Leader doesn't happen to be here. I can talk to him. Pag in-ignore niya kayo and the next day, wala pa rin, then sige, sabihin niyo yung gusto niyo. Pero huwag naman sanang ganun. Wala ko akong naalalang ganun magsalita dito sa Senate for the 19 years that I've been a senator. Yun lang naman po. Thank you, Mr. Senate President.
What's the pleasure of Senator Raffy Tulfo?
Sa dilemma, Mr. President, ubusin ko muna yung tawa ko. Never po ako nagdrama dito. Simula nung ako'y maging senador, never ever po ako nagdrama rito. Halugugin niyo po yung mga post sa social media. Never niyo ako nakita nagdrama o ginamit to para mag-grandstanding. Alam niyo po yan. Alam na lahat ng tao rito. Sino ang nagdadrama? Tumingin muna kayo sa salamin bago kayo magsalita. Salamat po.
Pareho naman pong majority and minority gusto ng mag-focus sa trabaho.
Yeah.
At kanina ho, natapos na ho natin yung anti-hospital detention na napakaganda po yung debate at pag-amenda. At naniniwala po ako na mabubuon rin natin itong mga committees natin sa pamamagitan ng coordination between yours truly and the majority leader.
Yeah, Mr. President, we'll just both reach out to our dear friend,
Yes.
the Minority Floor Leader. He hasn't been feeling well, so let's give him.
We'll reach out to him.
We'll reach out to him, and by tomorrow we can settle this issue and elect already the members of the minority.
Correct.
At least I can guarantee and say that Senator Amy is on all those committees. As being Deputy Minority Floor Leader, she's in all those committees.
At
We just have to
masipag ho yan
elect the
si
other
Senator
members.
Amy.
Opo. So don't worry, Mr. President. We'll reach out to our dear Minority Floor Leader, and I'm sure by tomorrow we can settle this all, and we'll start electing members to be able to sign the committee reports.
Yeah,
We
because-
guarantee all our members, both in the majority and the minority.
Because we cannot sign the committee reports without completing the committee memberships, as well as the BICAM and the ratification without completing the membership. So it's really important that we should complete that
Yes.
as soon as possible.
Absolutely, Mr. President.
Quick statement for the information of the body. Yung mga recommendations ng minority group for MyFIP and AIX have been suspended. Pag may lumalapit sa amin na pasyente, hindi na kami pwedeng sinabi sa website ng DOH at DSWD, hindi napapansin yung recommendation namin. So for the body's information and for the information of the Senate President. So like in my case, for over a decade, ang daming pumupunta sa akin, humihingi ng tulong. And just in the last few months, this has been weaponized against us. In the case of Senator Amy and Senator Bongo, years na yata. I'm just saying, Mr. President, for the record. So sa akin lang naman po, kung ang ibang kasamahan natin pwede namang makatulong sa mga kababayan, bakit yung iba sa amin hindi pwedeng mag-recommend? Hindi na ho ba kami marunong mag-recommend? Yung mga lumalapit ba sa amin are less of Filipino citizens? Yun lang naman po sa akin. Kasi sobra akong na-shock na nagkagano na tayo I hope the Senate President can do something about this. In fairness, napakabait sa akin nung inyong kapatid. I think nakita naman niya yung magandang loob ko nung dinefend ko yung kanyang budget. So it's not on him. I don't know kung saan nanggagaling ang utos na yan.
Yes, well, ang Senate naman is recommendatory. Of course, we just recommend, and we'll look into this
Mr. President,
matter.
we've done it before. During my time as Senate President, also Senator Cheese's time as Senate President, and also Senator Soto, as a matter of fact. He had put funds here in the Action Center for the senators, regardless of political color, Mr. President. Let's allow we definitely should give a budget to that. And whoever senator requests for assistance for the patients that go, hindi talaga mawawala, Mr. President. Meron talaga pasyente pumupunta sa amin. Sana dito na sa Senado,
Yes, meron
pwede
tayong-
nating tulungan, regardless of political color, Mr. President.
Meron tayong Public Assistance Center
Yeah.
na pwedeng lumapit yung ating mga constituents to ask for help. At
Yes.
galing yan sa institution as recommendation, no? Dahil nagre-recommend tayo sa mga different executive agencies. So we'll look into that also and we'll revive that concept. Maganda ho yung concept because Senate as an institution ang tumutulong.
Tsaka fair yung Senate President, Mr. President. Fair yung Senate President natin na yun, regardless
Yes.
of political color
Fair
affiliation.
naman lahat ng Senate President.
Dapat tulungan
Lalo na
po
ikaw,
natin. Dapat
Majority
tulungan
Leader.
natin sila, Mr. President. I totally agree.
Mr. President, just to add to the discussion, totoo po yan. I know that we've had discussions internally. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng past and current Senate President because of that funding. But again, this goes to the point that I was also raising with a good sponsor that laging kulang. So alam nyo yan, pagkatapos pumunta sa opisina ng isang senador, pupunta din sa opisina ng ibang senador kasi nga, kulang. So, Mr. President, pagpunta nila dun sa baba, dun sa general fund na ng Senate office, iisa-isahin pa rin nila yung mga opisina ng mga senador kasi kulang ang pondo. That's the whole point. Kulang. So, yun lang. I just wanted to emphasize that bakit naman yung recommendatory power pag naging minority ka, wala nang validity, wala nang respeto doon. Yun lang naman kasi pare-pareho naman tayong senador, pare-pareho naman tayong naninilbihan sa mga kababayan natin.
Rafi,
Sorry.
Mr. President.
Birthday kasi ni Senator Erwin kaya nasa
Okay
isip
lang,
ko
Mr.
parati.
President.
Senator Raffy Tulfo.
at least kapatid ko, pag ibang tao magagalit ako. Anyway.
Paborito
Actually,
niyo si Erwin eh.
Mr. President, this is not an amendment, rather a point of inquiry, if you allow me.
On the same
Certainly, Mr. President.
on the same topic, on the same
Yes,
amendment.
Mr. President, actually, ewan ko, parang lumundag na ata. May problema dito yung mga taga-legis ko, kaya hinabol ko lang dito. Kasi I received a lot of complaints
Yeah.
for the past several years sa programa ko Wanted sa radyo about patients not having enough money to pay for the bill. That's why they're being held as hostage, even yung mga bangkay nila, ng mga relatives. Kaya lumalapit po sa akin. So I was just wondering, Mr. President, under Section 2 on promissory notes, gusto ko lang clarify, yung mga patient na hindi naman mahirap, hindi sila considered as indigent. Right? Now, pero lubog naman sila sa utang. I mean, they're not indigent. Maganda yung kanilang trabaho, pero minalas sila at nabenta nila ang mga ari-arian nila at sila ay lubog na sa mga utang. So, paano natin i-deal? How would we deal on that when it comes to guarantee letter from the DOH? Kasi alam ko, the only time you'll be given a guarantee letter from the DOH and DOSWD is kung ikaw ay indigent. Pero kung ikaw ay may trabaho, at lalo pat maganda ang trabaho mo, hindi ka qualified. So, yung mga taong nasa ganong situation, how do we deal with them? President.
Salamat po, Mr. President, at sa good gentleman mula sa Isabela para sa tanong na iyon. Yung pangunahing layunin po ng bill natin bilang nag-aamyenda sa kasalukuyang batas ay may original at hanggang ngayon layunin pa rin na walang pasyente ma-detain dahil hindi niya babayaran yung bill niya o hindi mabayaran yung buong bill niya. Siyempre, yung unang mga Pilipinong nalalagay sa ganyang sitwasyon ay yung mga mahihirap. Pero sang-ayon ako sa good gentleman, Mr. President, alam po natin na kahit yung mga kababayan natin na hindi maituturing na indigent, maya't maya posibleng nasa sitwasyon na for one reason or another, hindi nila mabayaran yung kanilang buong bill.
Right.
Pati po sila ay hindi dapat ma-detain.
So, how do we deal with them?
And so how we deal with them is
President.
kung ano yung kaya nilang mabayaran, plus kung ano yung mga medical assistance programs ng iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno, subject pa rin sa criteria at sa guidelines ng bawat medical assistance program na iyon ay papasok din dagdag para bawasan yung bill nila or ma-cover yung part ng bill nila. At kung may balanse pa rin sa kanilang bill, ito po ay tinuturing na collectible pa rin ng ospital. Collectible pa rin po. Dahil yung ating panukala ay ang ating panukala ay anti-detention.
Okay.
Hindi po siya anti-collection. Ibig sabihin, collectible pa rin ng ospital mula dun.
So
sa pasyente at
they will be
pamilya
allowed to go.
paglabas. They will be allowed to go para
But-
matigil na po natin, Mr. President, yung sigurado ko, ito rin po yung umaabot sa Good Gentleman, mga horror story na for discharge na ayaw pang paalisin.
Correct.
Literally, ayaw tanggalin yung medical device, yung swero. Nakakabit pa rin dun sa swero stand. Or i-detain yung kanilang bagong panganak na baby. Or kung sa kasawi ang palad, namatay ang pasyente, i-detain yung kanyang cadaver. Ayaw, o kaya may palit ulo na schemes na kamag-anak niya or watcher niya ay i-detain na. Iwawaksi po natin yan, Mr. President. Idagdag natin yung mga medical assistants na kung mag-qualify yung pasyente ayon sa medical social worker sa ospital, bawas yon sa bill na kanyang obligasyon, pero yung balanse ay obligasyon pa rin sa ospital. At least, hindi na detained, kung magaling na, pwedeng bumalik sa trabaho, pwedeng kung nag-issue ng promissory note, ay mas magkakaroon siya ng pagkakataong ibayad yon over time. And yung ospital po ay hindi without recourse dahil pwede pa rin habulin yung balanse through civil proceedings, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Isang question na lamang kasi kanina na-discuss ninyo, I think with Senator Pia Cayetano about yung collateral. Okay? I was trying to follow it pero hindi ko nabutan dahil nag 1-minute suspension kayo. Ito yung pinaka-ayoko na hihingian ng collateral ang isang pasyente para siya makalabas or after na makalabas siya, kailangan may bibigay siyang collateral in lieu of the bill ng ospital. Meron kasi ako naging kaso before, I think several of these cases na yes, meron siyang Grab. Yung isa, meron siyang tricycle. So sabi ng ospital, iwan mo dito yung Grab mo, yung kotse mo, or yung isa naman, iwan mo yung tricycle mo. Ayun ang panghanap buhay niya
Exactly.
So we should not allow collateral. Dapat, kung talaga nakita natin, gumawa ng evaluation ng ating mga kinaukulan, DOH, DSWD, na yes, magandang trabaho nito, may Grab to, may tricycle to, o jeepney operator to, pero talagang lubog sa utang. Huwag na natin payagan na hilain pa yung panghanap buhay nila para lang mapambayad sa hospital bill.
Yes, Mr. President. In fact, yan yung kaninang tinanggap nitong representasyon sa page 4, line 3, amendment po ni Senator Erwin, na pwede pong tied up ng isang mortgage yung pasyente, yung bayarin ng pasyente liban sa mga properties primarily used for their livelihood. So precisely, kung lupa na sinasaka ng isang pasyenteng magsasaka o kalabaw na nag-aararo para sa kanya o kotse o motor na ginagamit niya bilang delivery rider or TNVS driver, itong mga or tools kung siya po ay karpintero o siya ay mekaniko, yung mga ito po ay hindi papayagan na gamitin ng ospital bilang collateral sa promissory note. Kasi precisely yun yung kabuhayan niya. Yun yung paraan na mabayaran pa. Kung meron pa siyang bayarin, yun yung paraan na hindi siya magiging ganyang ka medically at financially vulnerable ulit kung kailangan ulit magpa-ospital, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last na lang talaga. I don't know kung ito ay tutungutugan pa rin sa bill ni Senator Riza. Para maging fair naman tayo sa mga ospital, of course, kung puro naman promissory notes at hindi nakakabayad yung mga pasyente na inaasahan nila na yun ay gagamitin nila para tumakbo na maayos ang operation ng hospital. Meron ba dyan kasama sa bill na tutulungan yung mga ospital na pagdating sa credit write-off, sa tax break, para ma-offset yung mga bills na hindi nabayaran ng mga pasyente one way or the other?
Salamat, Mr. President. In this period of amendments, willing po akong aralin yan for possible acceptance. At dahil din sa kasalukuyang forma niya, yung bill ay tumitingin sa amyenda tungkol sa alternative security instruments din. Napapayagan yung mga unpaid obligations ma-secure sa pamamagitan ng mortgage o security interest, liban nga po dun sa gamit na ginagamit para sa hanap buhay, co-maker o guarantor, assignment of SSS or GSIS benefits or loan proceeds, PCS o guarantee letter, or DSWD or DOH guarantee letter, Mr. President.
Okay. Baka hindi tayo nakindihan. Ang sa akin, ang sinasabi ko kasama dyan sa bill ninyo, Mr. President, is yung bibigyan ng tax break, o tax
yes, Mr.
write-off, yung mga ospital na parang hindi naman sila malugi, hindi sila mabankrupt, dahil kung puro na lang ang mga promissory note, tapos hindi nababayaran naman ng pasyente, pasyente nakalabas lang, which is good for me. Pero paano naman yung ospital, on the other hand, na hindi na sila makakapag-operate ng maayos sa kanilang ospital dahil marami sa mga pasyente hindi nakabayad. So, bibigyan sila ng tax break o tax break dun sa mga write-off nila.
Actually, Mr. President, yun po yung unang binanggit ko. Ipagpaumanhin ko hindi ko malinaw na nasabi, pero bukas po ang representasyong ito na i-consider yung ganyang proposed amendment. Intayin ko na lamang po yung formulation mula sa good gentleman.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Maraming salamat
Thank you.
din po, Mr. President.
Thank you. We recognize Senator Ping
Yes,
Lacson.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, just a short interjection regarding using the primary means of livelihood or prescribing the use of primary means of livelihood as collateral. Who will validate and how will it be validated? If we are confronted with a situation na yung isang pasyente o yung kamag-anak niya merong more than one means of livelihood, say magsasaka, pero tricycle driver din, how do we confront that issue, that kind of a situation?
I admit, Mr. President, na nung tinanggap ko po yung proposed amendment ni Senator Erwin, ang nasa isip po nitong representasyon ay yung gamit sa primary means of livelihood. I would just need to quickly consult back with him kung ang i-consider ay yung mga gamit sa secondary or even tertiary means of livelihood, Mr. President. Then I'll be glad to get back to the good gentleman from Cavite.
So paano po i-validate yan and who will validate?
Yung medical social worker po sa bawat ospital, Mr. President, na mag-oversee nitong prosesong ito ay kasama po sa magva-validate kung alin ang means of livelihood ng pasyente at magsiguro na hindi po ito ma-attach sa promissory note or mortgage, Mr. President.
Probably po siguro sa IRR, pwedeng pag-admit pa lang ng pasyente, indicate na nila kung ano yung primary means of livelihood para hindi maging flexible.
I'll be very open. I would be very open kung yan ang maibubungang IRR po, Mr. President.
Pwede rin sa IRR siguro.
Yes, Mr. President. And dun sa posibilidad na isama na sa measure mismo, magko-consult lang ako mabilis kay Senator Erwin and would be glad to give a response within this period of amendment today, Mr.
Upon
President.
admission as a patient.
Opo, Mr.
Siguro
President.
indicate na lang doon kagad para maliwanag.
Salamat,
Ano yung
Mr.
abuse? Thank you, Mr.
President.
President.
Salamat po sa payo, Mr.
I think the
President.
first determination is whether the patient is indigent or not.
Yes,
Diba?
Mr.
Ganun na-
President.
I think in the bill, that's how it's framed. And then the second determination, kung indigent siya, ano yung source of income niya.
Yes, Mr. President. At bukod sa indigent, meron po tayong term dito sa bill na financially incapacitated. Na ina-anticipate ko po, baka dun nga papasok yung proposed amendment na dinadraft ni Senator Raffy.
So, for example,
isa sa mga unang binanggit nila.
Hindi siya indigent, but at that point in time,
Opo.
meron siyang, let's say, may calamity
Opo.
at wala siyang source of income. So, pwede siyang pumasok dyan sa category na yan.
Opo. Kung otherwise, hindi siya mabibilang sa indigents na tinanong ni Senator Raffy, maaring lower middle class siya or working poor, pero mangangailangan ng tulong nitong binubuo nating panukalang batas, Mr. President.
Alright. Thank you. Thank you for those
Salamat,
interventions.
Mr. President. And for, again, with apologies, an anterior amendment from the Senate President on page 6 still, but line 15, delete the preposition of and replace with the conjunction or. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, amendments approved.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, no more committee amendments from this representation. I would be ready to circle back to the proposed amendment of Senator Pia if she wishes to
This
take
is
the
on
floor
page,
again.
which page? Good sponsor?
Page 3, section 2.
Page 3, section 2. Okay. Which is actually the meat of the
Yes.
bill. Yeah.
So actually, Mr. President, dear sponsor, I don't have any more amendments here. It's more of, I would like us to be able to put on record how will the hospitals be paid for the expenses of the indigent patients. If the body will recall during our last discussion, I had put on record that the amounts could be quite substantial. And let me just grab my notes. So I included in the discussion the concept of the zero balance billing, which was part of the SONA 2 years ago, and if I'm not mistaken, reiterated this SONA, because the zero balance billing in its perfect form would mean that there is no longer any balance that will be paid when a patient is discharged. So wala na siyang babayaran. Yun yung talagang utopian concept ng zero balance billing. But upon clarification, this was last year, the DOH came out with the policy that the zero balance billing will only apply to DOH hospitals.
Yes, Mr. President. If
Sorry,
not-
I'll just complete. Is it okay?
sorry. Good,
So just to
gentleman.
complete, the zero balance billing only applies to DOH hospitals and specialty hospitals. And that number's 91 yan. 87 DOH hospitals plus 4, tama ba? Plus 4 specialty hospitals, 91. And yet, our total number of hospitals is around 1,000. So, wala pang 10% yung mga ospital na pwedeng puntahan ng mga tao para maka-avail ng zero balance billing. So I'm simply presenting the reality on the ground na pagpunta doon ng pasyente at nag-expect siya ng wala siyang kakayanan magbayad, and Her Honor has included in the discussion a very important segment of the population, yung financially incapacitated, na iba pa sa indigent. Talagang nangangailangan yan. Maraming middle class na namumulube dahil sa presyo dahil sa nagkasakit. Mahal nga magkasakit. So I'm very happy naman na we recognize the need of those who are actually nga financially capable pa nga yan pero mamumulubi ka talaga. So lahat naman tayo nagkakaintindihan dyan. It's not a point of contention. Ang gusto ko lang ilagay natin sa record, and off the record kasi nabanggit naman ng sponsor that she can present the numbers which I believe came from the Senate President, which I believe came from me. So
And from
I think
PIDS, Mr. President.
I think we know these numbers naman. Pero pakita naman natin sa tao kung ano to. Kasi hindi naman ako nag-imbento niyan. Galing po yan sa PIDS, no? Yung ating kinikilalang think tank. Sa kanila nang galing yan kung magkano gagastusin, magkano ang annual na gastos natin sa mga nagkakasakit na kailangan mag-ospital, ma-ospital. Would you like to be the one to put it on record, Your Honor?
All right, Mr. President. First of all, we are not forcing private hospitals into a zero balance billing arrangement. This bill does not create zero balance billing in private hospitals. Hindi po niya ine-extinguish yung mga unpaid balances. Pinoprohibit lang talaga yung detention o kaya withholding on the ground of non-payment. So for the record, hospitals may still collect unpaid lawful charges through promissory notes, lawful security, guarantee letters, assignments where allowed by law, and civil remedies. Ngayon po, going to yung data no na inestimate ng Philippine Institute for Development Studies at nakuha nating lahat mula sa Office of the Senate President. Ito po nagpo-provide ng data sets covering indigent inpatient claims from 2024 to 2026. Pero at the outset pa lang, Mr. President, disclaimer kaagad, hindi po dapat ito tignan na fiscal cost of the bill. Kasi hindi po natin pinapa-automatic guarantee sa gobyerno lahat ng unpaid bills ng ating mga pasyente o ating mga pamilya who would otherwise be detained in hospitals, clinics, or like facilities dahil hindi pa nila mabayaran yung kanilang bill or kanilang buong bill. Because after yung whatever, kung mayroon man na mabayaran ng pasyente at pamilya niya, magka-come into play hindi lang itong mga nasa data ng PIDS, pero lahat ng medical assistance programs ng iba't ibang government agencies as governed by each of their criteria at saka conditions kung qualified ba o hindi yung pasyente at pamilya niya sa particular na assistance na iyon. And in the end, kapag may balanse pa, collectible pa rin ito on the part of the hospital at pwede pa rin niyang habulin ang balancing ito including through civil proceedings. Basta ang importante po ay makakamit yung unang layunin ng kasalukuyang batas at layunin pa rin, primary objective pa rin nitong amendatory bill natin na ang pasyente o pamilya niya ay hindi nadidetain. So, tinignan pa rin po namin sa office ko yung data mula sa PIDS, yung data sets ginamit para i-compute yung gross residual billing gap. Again, hindi po ina-assume na nire-represent nito yung amount na actually collected from the patient. Likewise, hindi po dapat i-assume na nire-represent nito yung actual out-of-pocket expenditures. And again, it should not be construed na ang national government na ang automatic guarantor. Kasi yung guarantee letter, accepted in lieu of a promissory note, again, hindi niya ginagawang guarantor ang gobyerno sa buong balanse. There will still be those three components. Kung ano yung kahit konti or minsan wala, mabayaran ng pasyente at pamilya niya, tapos yung iba't ibang medical assistance programs ng iba't ibang government agencies. And kung may balanse, recoverable pa rin ang ospital, including through civil proceedings. So would the gentle lady like me to put the numbers on the record? Because I can do that. If she will bear with me.
I think we should
All
because we can now have a clearer discussion kung ano
All
yung
right.
ma-expect ng mga tao pag they're confronted with this situation na hospital sila, tapos gusto nilang ma-discharge. So lagay natin sa record yan, Madam Sponsor.
All right. But again, Mr. President, just with that disclaimer na ito yung magiging exposure ng gobyerno kung yung buong balanse na hindi mabayaran ng pasyente at pamilya niya ay sasaluhin ng gobyerno, which is not the case. So again, I just want to put that on record na wag natin
Ano nga makakalabas yun kung mangyari yung ganong senaryo na hindi nila kayang bayaran? Eh, ang layunin niyang batas para hindi ma-detain. Sino magbabayad muna nun para sila makalabas?
isipin na ang hindi mabayaran ng pasyente at pamilya niya ay babayaran lahat ng gobyerno. Masasubject pa rin to the requirements at criteria ng bawat medical assistance program ng bawat government agency. At sa huli, kung may balanse pa, obligasyon pa rin ng pamilya at pasyente, collectible pa rin on the part of the hospital. So, government as guarantor means the potential budgetary obligation that may arise when DOH, DSWD, PCSO, or other government medical assistance programs issue or honor guarantee letters for qualified, indigent, or financially incapacitated patients covering the unpaid balances of hospital bills after, Mr. President, that PhilHealth benefits, discounts, patient payments, kung mayroon, HMO or insurance payments, charitable deductions, and other applicable benefits have been applied. So again, yung ipuput on record ko ngayon ay for purposes lamang of estimating fiscal exposure. Again, it does not mean that the automatic full payment of the entire hospital bill. It does not also mean zero balance billing. It does not include amounts already covered by PhilHealth, private insurance, HMO, patient payment, hospital discount, or charity write-off. It also does not include payments who are not assessed and qualified under applicability eligibility rules, agency guidelines, and the availability of funds. So availability of funds pa rin, Mr. President, per medical assistance program of each government agency. So for proxy computation, the estimated government exposure may be expressed as, so estimated government exposure, kaya ba nating ipakita ito on the screen? Equals number of qualified cases times average residual unpaid balance times assumed approval or payment rate. Teka, saan nawala yung aking? Sandali lang po, Mr. President. Okay. So yung estimated government exposure equals number of qualified cases times average residual unpaid balance times assumed approval or payment rate, where number of qualified cases refers to the assumed number of indigent or financially incapacitated patients, cases that may be endorsed for government medical assistance. In the absence of a national hospital detention data set na tinanong kanina ni Senator Joel, dahil wala po tayong ganyang data set talaga na kompleto ng cases of hospital detention, yung PhilHealth indigent or NHTS PR claims may be used as a narrow proxy. So proxy lang siya, Mr. President, while all indirect contributor claims may be used as a broader stress test proxy. Yung average residual unpaid balance refers to the assumed unpaid amount remaining after PhilHealth, discounts, patient payments, coverage of HMOs, charitable deductions, and other benefits have been applied. And assumed approval or payment rate refers to the portion of endorsed cases that government assistance programs can actually cover, subject to eligibility, agency guidelines, and always availability of funds. So ito, Mr. President, pinepresenta ko lang itong proxy bilang fiscal risk scenario. Hindi po ito official cost estimate talaga. At pinapakita pa rin ito na importante itong bill bilang primarily anti-detention measure. Hindi po talaga siya automatic government guarantee para sa lahat ng unpaid private hospital bills. Okay, kung gagamitin natin yung NHTS, yung PhilHealth 2024 indigent claims, ang volume po nun, ayon sa PIDS, ay mga 2.07 million claims. Again, narrow proxy ito. And assume natin for stress testing purposes, 100% approval o payment rate na hindi nangyayari. A residual unpaid balance of 10,000 pesos per case would imply around 20.7 billion pesos in annual exposure. Kung 25,000 pesos per case ang residual na hindi pa nababayaran sa bill ng mga pasyente, ang exposure ay tataas sa 51.8 billion pesos. At 50,000 per case, the exposure could exceed 100 billion pesos. Pero kung kalahati lang naman ng qualified cases ay ma-approve or mababayaran, yung figures ay makakalahati. So ang exposure would be at around 50 billion pesos. If you will bear with me, Mr. President and Gentle Lady, with more numbers, pero dahil kinrunch po talaga namin yung data ng PIDS, kung i-apply yung test more broadly sa lahat ng indirect contribution claims, o around 8.61 million claims, mas lalaki yung exposure. Kung 100% ang payment rate, 10,000 pesos residual unpaid balance per case would imply around 86 billion pesos exposure, while 25,000 pesos per case would imply around 215 billion pesos. Pero again, Mr. President, yung actual exposure ay magdedepende pa sa kung ilang mga kaso ay talagang magka-qualify at aktual na maaprubahan at mababayaran sa ilalim ng rules ng bawat ahensya at available funds niya.
At yun na nga mga kababayan, hanggang dito na lang po ang ating video. Kung ano man po ang inyong opinion sa video ito, ay comment nyo lang po sa baba at ating pag-usapan. Away maging kabahagi pa tayong lahat tungo sa pagsulong at pangunlad ng ating pinakamamahal na bansang Pilipinas. Ingat po kayo palagi at maraming salamat.